Warning! The following live broadcast may contain loud, obnoxious, shrill, and alarming noises that might be disturbing, if not outright uncomfortable to listen to, especially if you are wearing headphones. I share my office space with an African gray parrot and two parakeets, and I have no control over their behavior while I am live streaming, unlike my regular videos, where I have the opportunity to edit them out as best as I can. If you are sensitive to loud, surprising background noises, hold on, I needed to get my water there. I recommend either not turning your volume up too loud or watching my edited pre-recorded videos instead. Viewer discretion is advised. Ooh.
EGORAVEN returns to Kickstarter in its first trade paperback, collecting issues 1 through 4 in one full-color volume. EGORAVEN, Heir of the First Unicorn, is the story of a unicorn princess exiled into the mortal realm after she is betrayed by her elf prince husband-to-be. Dragons overtake her kingdom, and how she trains to become a knight with the help of an unusual trio of blacksmiths. It's a mature audience telling of the classic hero's journey with a soap opera twist, so check out EGORAVEN, Heir of the First Unicorn, Volume 1 today.
Hello, everybody. Welcome. Oh, it's like so much going on today. Hold on. I'm still trying to remember everything I have to do here. And of course, I forgot a couple of things. So hold on. Yeah. Of course. There we go. Okay. All right. I think we're all back together now. Okay, there we go. So hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Daphne Lage art live stream, drawing stream, or whatever I decide to call it today. It's like, it's we're random here. So it's been an interesting 48-ish hours. But there's a lot going on. So I guess let's see who's joining us today. Yes. Hello, Grant. Yeah, I know, right? He's probably going to try something today, as he always does. Yeah. And hello, James. Hello, always there. And of course, the one and only Pops is in the chat as well. Hello, welcome. And yes, and I see you, 4 people watching this stream from regions. Five now from regions beyond. It's like I know that you probably have your own reasons as to why you're not joining us here on YouTube and joining us in the chat. But hey, as long as you're enjoying the show and vibing along with me, we're all good. It's all good, But feel free to come on over and join us in the chat. It's fun too. We have good conversations here. Okay, so like I said, there's a lot going on today, so might as well get this started. So hello, my name is Daphne Lage, and I am a cartoonist, illustrator, and comic book artist from New York. I've been self-publishing comics since 1992, and I am known for the funny animal fantasy adventure Tall Tales, which recently completed a very successful Kickstarter. Thank you to everybody who supported. And and if I owe you a sketch cover, that's coming up soon. All the pledges for the Kickstarter have gone out. So if you have a sketch cover, that's in my pile that needs to be done. So I will I'm trying to get everything completely out of here before September. So, oh boy, we're already at September already. So, we could talk about that in September. But yes, thank you everybody for supporting Tall Tales. And speaking of Kickstarters, I am also known for my medieval fantasy soap opera drama, EGORAVEN, Heir of the First Unicorn, now on Kickstarter, live, and a project we love from Kickstarter again. I mean, it's just no stopping this unicorn princess. And it's like, yes. And speaking of Kickstarter, yes. So the campaign is live on Kickstarter right now as we speak. Link in the show notes. And I would like to thank the 69 backers. Nice. 69 backers who have currently supported who are currently supporting the campaign for a whopping total of $4,011 with 29 days to go. Really, I just I can't get over that. But we can talk about that later. So yes. So, and I am also, before I forget going through the rest of my intro here, I am also co-host with Nita Lanning on the Rage Into the Vlogs show on every Monday and Friday on the Indie Comics Network at 11 a.m. Eastern. So if you're interested in hour-long conversations about indie comics, social media marketing, doing Kickstarters, interviews with cool people, join us every Monday and Friday at 11 a.m. on the Indie Comics Network, which you might know about because this very show, this very stream also simulcasts through that channel. So come on over to YouTube, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell so that you get notified every time one of our shows goes live on either on these channels. And in the meantime, you can read both my comics online at Tall Tales, TAILS online.com and egoworks.com, EGOWRKS. And like I said, you can also check out my videos on how I make my comics on YouTube at Daphne Lage Art, which, like I said, also simulcasts through the Indie Comics Network if you are joining me from Facebook or anywhere else you might see a link to this stream. So yeah, like I said, the campaign launched. So the campaign for EGORAVEN, Heir the First Unicorn, Volume 1, the trade, which collects issues 1 through 4 of the series, launched on Monday. And I gotta tell you, I was a little worried. Up until the campaign, because trade paperbacks are kind of a hard sell. It's like the individual issues are really, really popular. People like collecting individual issues and variant covers and all that. And in my experience, usually when a trade paperback finally comes out, it's usually like, not as people aren't as enthusiastic about that, I guess, for lack of the collectability factor. But boy, did you guys prove me wrong. Oh, am I just eating crow on this and happy to do so. Really, if you missed Monday's episode of the Rage Into the Vlogs, we did a launch party for EGORAVEN, and we actually funded in 45 minutes thanks to your enthusiasm. Excuse me. And and the campaign has been kicking ass so far, only about like a little over 2 days in, and we still have 29 days to go, and I am just completely floored. Like I said, we're currently at $4,011. We already unlocked the second stretch goal for the campaign, and which is a 4x6 art print. So the next stretch goal that we're working towards now is at 6,000. I know. We're being a little ambitious with this campaign, but because I figured, hey, I was told, it's like, what, screw it. It's like, if I wanted to see if I could continue the trajectory of the individual issues we're going in, and why let a trade paperback slow us down a bit. And like I said, you're all proving to me that a trade paperback absolutely will not slow down the trajectory of this series. So I just want to thank everybody again for their support. It just feels like just yesterday, March 2020, when we first went on lockdown, and I had to make a decision as to what I was going to do with all that time that I had, and decided that I was going to finally take a serious go at putting out EGORAVEN, Heir the First Unicorn. And January 2021 was when the first issue launched on Kickstarter. And here we are in August 2022, already at the trade paperback, already at the first collected trade. Like I said, issues 1 through 4. And for those of you who don't know, this book is proofed already. This is one of my proofs. It's pretty much already set up and ready to go. I've made some minor adjustments to the file since making this proof. Still following my rule of not launching a campaign unless the book is completely done. So then that way, the second the campaign ends, I get all these books to the printer. And and speaking of proofs, I mean, just to show you, so the book after this that comes out is issue 5, continuing the series. And guess what? I have the proof for that as well. I got these from the printer last week, and as you can see, it continues the story with 32 full color pages, and ready to go. We're all ready for November when this book comes out. And because like I said, it's like no campaign until the books are completed. So thank you very much. Yes. I'm very pleased. I'm more than pleased, actually, with how everything is going. It's going much better than I expected. Like I said, my expectations for a trade paperback was kind of lower or more modest. And I was told to treat it like another issue and keep going forward, And I was a little hesitant at first to do that, but I said, you know what, screw it. It's like, let's be ambitious with the stretch goals. Let's be ambitious with everything. And what's the worst that happens, right? I mean, we made goal. That was always going to happen. I never thought I wouldn't make goal. But to get as far as I have in a little over 2 days, I was not expecting that. Which only makes me wonder what's going to happen in the next 29 days. And I'm really excited for us to find out what that means when it comes to the rest of the campaign. And and the thing is, with issue 5, I guess I might as well give you guys a sneak peek too, since I'm giving you a sneak peek of issue 5. This is going to be the variant cover, the exclusive variant cover for the campaign. So I got Jaden Lanning again to make an exclusive cover for me. And she just knocked it out the park again. I mean, she is really capturing the vibes that I'm going for this series. And I'm just loving it. So we're going to have a busy rest of the year, that's for sure, with these campaigns. But figure I'd give you guys just a sneak peek on everything, just to show you that it's like I'm serious. I'm really, really serious about this. So and it's not stopping anytime soon. So what else is going on? Let's see. So what else do I have here? Pretty much, I guess, like the only other update that I have is that House of Bob returns at the last Saturday of this month. So it's going to be August 27th. Oh my God, it's literally this coming Saturday, isn't it? Wow. Okay, so I guess it makes sense that I talk about it now, because I completely forgot. Oh, okay. Wow. All right. So, yes. So, join me this coming Saturday for another House of Bob drawing live stream, the adult only live stream, where I am working on more risque artwork than what's appropriate for the daytime crowd. And if this is going to be at a new time, we are going to be broadcasting the show from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. I know it's a little early, but I figure I needed to I needed to adjust the times a bit, because since it's an adults only stream and you need to age verify to even watch it, technically it doesn't matter when we broadcast. So in the end, I decided to go for a time that's more convenient for me, but it seems to be more convenient for Nita as well. Who is my co-host on the show. So yeah, so we're going to be trying out a new time. So 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. this coming Saturday. Oh my God. It's like I didn't even realize we were already. I thought I had 2 more weeks. It's like, no, it's this Saturday coming up. So yes, House of Bob, the adults only draw stream. I will be working on another piece for House of Bob. We're going to be talking a little bit more about some announcements that I have about the collected book that I'm putting together, that I am putting together all the artwork that I'm doing on House of Bob. There's some things coming up that I'm going to make a couple of announcements about as well. And the topic for this coming Saturday is going to be aesthetic sexuality. It's the only thing that I could kind of name it, and have it make sense as close as possible as what I want to talk about. So it's sexuality as aesthetic in media. Yeah, so it's about an article. It's based on an article that I read. And yeah, so hopefully we'll have a really interesting conversation about that while I am doing some horny artwork for for everybody there on the show. So yeah, so remember Saturday 8 to 10 Eastern time. So let's see. Yes. Yeah, it's like that. It's going to be everyone is sexy and no one is horny. That's the article that I read that inspired the topic for the episode. Yeah, did I say risque? Absolutely. Did I say risque? Yes, it is. Actually, it's just straight up porn, really. Yeah. I forgot to. I mean, it's been a hell of a month. So so that's pretty much the big thing that's coming up. So so let's see what else is happening. Yes, so in terms of the novel, so for those of you who don't know, I am also simultaneously working on the continuation novel for the EGORAVEN series. So the main series is 15 issues, and the next series after that, the next story after that, is going to be an illustrated prose novel that I'm working on. And I just got past pretty much the climax scene of it. I'm already at the very butt end, kind of like the epilogue type of the wind down, the epilogue part of the story. I'm like really like 5% away from completing the first draft. And for those of you keeping track, my current word count is 62,139 words. So yeah, and the thing is too is that I've already been playing around with laying out the book, knowing that it's not going to be much longer before I finish it, and I kind of had an idea for a cover for it, so I wanted to lay out the book the cover so that, well, technically lay out the entire book to kind of get an idea as to how wide the spine is going to be, how I'm going to put the blurb. So here is one of my sample pages where I have all of my information that goes into InDesign, so that I can keep, like this is the setup um, that that I use in InDesign to keep it, I guess, like consistent, so that I know it's like, okay, because when the whole story is finished, it might change slightly, but at least I have all my numbers together, the lettings, the kernings, the justifications, the whole thing, the font size, the whole thing, all the technical details. And yeah, and by putting that together, I was able to get the spine width. So it's going to be a 4x6. No, a 6x9. 4x6 is more paper, like paperback size. But this is going to be a 6x9 sized book. So I was able to get the spine width, and then I laid out the cover, just trying to get a feel for it. And I was actually able to sketch up some stuff. A lot of covers, because it's like, so I have like the 2 EGORAVEN books coming up, and then there's another Tall Tales trade that we will be releasing. So the next Tall Tales trade that's coming out is Tall Tales the Peacekeepers. This is the original printing that we did for the series. Tall Tales the Peacekeepers is it's not exactly a sequel to Thieves Quest as much as that it's a story that kind of runs concurrent to the Thieves Quest storyline. So this is going to be pretty much a standalone trade paperback that I will be remastering and doing in the comic book format. This is the original digest size, just to kind of give you an idea as to the size difference. So I will be fixing up the file so that it's in the new trade paperback format, so all the books are consistently sized with each other. So this is going to be the next book that I will be remastering, and I am looking to run this campaign in January-ish. I don't have I have a date, but it's not set in stone yet. So I just have to finish a couple of things before I can pretty much confirm it and go, okay, oh, we're good to go. So I pretty much have to lay out the book, and, the interiors and everything. And I'm going to kind of redo the cover. Like I said, I'm going to remaster it the same way I did with the other ones. And I'll show you in a minute what I have on the drawing table when we move over there. So so that's going to be, so Tall Tales the Peacekeepers is going to be the next book after EGORAVEN issue 5. So I'm trying to kind of alternate between the two titles. So next year we're going to have a couple of more Tall Tales books coming out. So that's always working, right? So that's pretty much what's going on right now. We, like I said, we launched the Kickstarter on Monday, and it has been, it's like, really, it's like I can talk about it as generically as possible, but look, we all know it's because of you that that the series has been doing as well as it has been. Look, even with the Tall Tales, look, every book that I put out on Kickstarter, every book that me and JD put out on Kickstarter, it's because of you. if it wasn't for Kickstarter, it's like, yeah, we would still be doing the books, but at a much slower pace. And this is just, and it's just really nice to actually like, have an audience. It's like, that you guys are really enjoying the work, and you're watching our pages, and you get excited every time a new Kickstarter is about to launch. So yeah, so like I said, this volume 1 trade has been doing really well for 2 days. Usually usually it takes me fighting an entire 30 days to get to where we're at now at 2. So I'm a little amazed by it. Like I said, it only makes me wonder what's possible in the next 29 days. And yeah, so if you pledged to the campaign, thank you so much. I mean, whether you got a PDF or a physical level or a digital level, thank you so much for your pledges. And if you haven't pledged for any reason whatsoever, that's okay too. I mean, it's like, look, I can't pledge to everything, I see on Kickstarter either. So I completely understand. But if you want to help the campaign, and anyway, feel free to share the links. The link is in the show notes below. Feel free to share the link on your social medias, tell your friends about it, the whole thing. It's like there's a lot of people who haven't heard about the book and maybe would enjoy it. So maybe you're just the person to show it to them. So yeah. So if you want to help support the campaign, but for some reason you can't pledge, that's okay. Just spread the word about it. That's, in the end, it's like that's just as valuable to any creator on social media. Because yeah, it's just all about getting more eyeballs on these on our projects, and the more people who see it, the more likely we'll come across people who will support the book financially and help make it easier for us to put out issues faster, as we go along. So yeah, so we're just about a little at the half-hour mark. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run some ads, not some ads, it's like we're going to be showing some love, because it's not like we get paid for this. So, and then it's like, we'll just move over to the table where I'll show off some of the artwork that I'm working on. And get, and start to work, right? Because like I said, there's a lot going on. And I actually have a deadline to keep this week. I have pages that I need to go. I have been slowly feeding pages to the flatter so that I already have half the book completed. So I have pages 1 to 16 of EGORAVEN issue 6 already flatted and ready to be color corrected. It is lettered. So it's just, there's really, I'm pretty much solidly halfway through the book. So I already spoke to the flatters, and I'm going to be sending her the next batch of pages by the weekend. So I'm trying to get through 8 more pages to get to her so that they can, we're almost done. We're kind of, like we're halfway through. So, and I just want to keep that momentum going. So yeah, so let me show some love here. And and then we'll just get to the drawing table and we can move on from there. There you go. So we'll be right back after these messages. We'll be right back.
We all the only show for independents all around, giving you a platform to spread your word all over town. Catch the Craze is the place to promote to your fans with the dream of Medina and Sam the Crazy Man. Subscribe to our show and never miss an episode. It's time to get your mans, listen to us on the go. Updated every week, we never miss a day. Join the squad, come on in. It's time to catch the craze. If you are an independent, catch the craze. Making moves on your own, catch the craze. On your grind in the streets, catch the craze. Join the movement, catch the craze.
Yeah, George, we did it again. Come on now. You know you want to do it. Catch the craze.
Hi everyone, Daphne Lage here. Join Nita Lanning and me on the Ragin' to the Vlogs show, where we talk about everything, nothing, and all the bits in between. Looking for hour-long conversations about indie comics, social media marketing, and crowdfunding, with the occasional rant and story time? Head on over to the Ragin' 2 channel on YouTube, Mondays through Fridays at 11 a.m. Eastern to join in the chat.
Hit the button.
Okay, so here we go. So, all right, so let me just set this up. And yeah, look at this pile of work that I have on the table. So, so like I said, yeah, things been busy. I've been trying to, get things, a lot of things done. Like I said, trying to keep the momentum here. So the first thing that I want to show, which is kind of, I'm hoping you guys can see it, because I know that blue line is a little tough to see. So this is the cover is going. This is what's going to be the cover to the illustrated novel. So this is going to be the cover to EGORAVEN Cult of the Wolf Witch, which comes after the 15 issues. So I figured, I needed to get this out of my head, even though this is a book that is still about a year away in terms of production. Like I said, I'm only at finishing up the first draft. And then my beta readers have to take a gander at it. And then it's just like getting it edited and, figuring out which scenes are going to get illustrated and how many illustrations I'm going to put in the book, and actually doing the illustrations, which I'm actually looking forward to doing, because they're going to be black and white. Ooh, okay, let's see if I can get this to focus. Come on, let's focus. There we go. Okay, so this is going to be the cover. So the book is going to be black and white illustrations, which I am really looking forward to doing. Doing black and white illustrations is just, different than inking for color. And I'm really looking forward to getting back to that, So this is, you're getting a sneak peek of this cover for this book, which, like I said, it's, we're talking about it. It's still it's probably going to still be another year in production. The thing that I haven't decided yet is whether I'm going to wait until after the 15 issues are completed, or whether I'm just going to release it with whatever issue it just happens to finish with. I don't know. I haven't decided yet, but but we're still a way off. There's no reason for me to be living in the future like that right now. So right now I have the cover in front of me, so at least we're there. So there you go. So here's your sneak peek at the Cult of the Wolf Witch cover. So let me see. We're gonna put this aside for now. Okay. All right. So the next piece that I have on the table, Now, this was a given. It's like I just started the campaign for volume 1. So of course I had to pencil out volume 2, the cover for volume 2. So so this is going to be the cover for volume 2 of EGORAVEN, Heir of the First Unicorn. So yeah, I'm pretty much, the pencils are pretty much uh for Friday, I'll talk to you about that later. Yeah, I have a couple. There was a particular something I wanted to talk about on Friday, but I actually forgot right now. So I'll get back to you on that. So this is the cover for volume 2, which will be released sometime the end of next year. So there we go. So might as well start on this now, right? So there's your sneak peek on the new cover. So I'm really happy with that, having that penciled out as well. So here I had to go digging through the box to my art box to actually look for this. So this is the original pen and ink piece that I did for the cover of the Peacekeepers. Now, whenever I do a remaster, right, it's like the whole idea behind a remaster is doing a new version of the book without starting from scratch. And the thing is, though, the cover still works. So there's absolutely no reason for me to actually redraw a cover or do a new cover for the Peacekeepers trade, which, like I said, is coming up early next year. But the thing is, though, it does need a little tweaking. So these are the original inks for, let's see, did I sign this? Oh, wow. I actually forgot to sign this. So I have no year. Let me see if I can, what year did I put this out? It has to be around like 2013 or something. Wow. Okay. So the original version of this, so this book came out in 2007. So the original version of this came out in 2007, which well, that's funny. I thought it came out later. But no. Okay, so it says here, according to the book, originally printed in 2007. So this is the cover to that. So I figure it's like what it needs is probably just needs me to punch up the inking a bit. I'll probably go back in and fill in some areas and just put a little bit more, just kind of like beef up the lines a bit. I don't see myself having to do much with it. The only thing that I don't like is that I put it in the center of the page instead of down, because what I had wanted to do, but I guess I'm going to have to do this on a separate sheet of paper anyway, is that I wanted to do a background on it. The original cover, I had used a very, very altered photograph for the background, which worked fine. But I really want a drawn background this time. I wanted to match the aesthetic of the previous volumes. So I'm probably going to draw out that. I'm going to take that photo-ish background and I'm going to technically redraw it and then combine it in Photoshop. Because like I said, I'm just going to touch this up. And then I'll just combine it with the background in Photoshop and do the new cover that way. Also, another kind of sort of sneak peek, also coming out next year. So this is the cover to the Gabriel story. It's a one-shot that we originally did. That was supposed to be our first full color Tall Tales book. But at the time, I don't know why we wanted to do a full color book when at the time it was pretty much not feasible to do it. Yeah, it's like I don't know why we made that decision back then, but now we are here and we are able to do a full color book. So this is the next this also is going to come out later next year. This is the Tall Tales, or So I Thought. It's a one shot. It's 40 pages. It's the story of how Gabriel his life before he met up with the Ravenwood group in the main Thieves Quest storyline. So like I said, it's like I was originally thinking of redoing the entire cover, but it's like, again, taking a look at the original. This is the original, from 2007, as you can see, and I don't see a reason to redraw it, to tell you the truth. I mean, it really does need it needs me to go in and beef up the inking, and and just like fix it up a bit and figure out something for the background. So I'm just gonna like just do something back here so that it fills up the area better, so it's not just a white space. I always kind of hated that. I mean, I don't know. It's like I always have this thing of not wanting to leave like empty spaces like this, because I don't know, it always feels like, oh, I'm copping out on something. So I just have to figure out what would be good to put back there. But other than that, I'm probably just going to go in and ink it some more, and then just recolor it in my new style. So like I said, so all the books will have a cohesive look with all the remastered versions. So that's also on the table as well, that I will be working on. I mean, yeah, it's I mean, it is the fluffy white clouds are they're the easy background to do, but I kind of have an idea for what I want to put here. So we'll see how we'll see how it goes. Right now, on the original version of the cover, it's kind of like this parchment looking clouds back. So technically I did do the clouds kind of on this, but it was more to try to make it look like parchment. And I didn't think I quite succeeded in that, but that's the whole that's the thing that I like about remastering these books, is that I'm able to go in and kind of tweak them and do them the way they kind of just fix them up a bit. Also, the thing about this book is that they're flatted already. So the only thing I have to do is color correct and re-letter. I'm going to re-letter the pages. It's a very wordy story. Probably JD is going to have to. I know he had mentioned that he might want to take a look at it first, maybe like give it a good scrubbing, before I letter it again. So this book is well on its way as well. So that's also on the table here, also on the docket. So I just keep so I'm just gonna keep everything on top of my scanner until I can get to it. So here we are. So here is the real reason why we're here today. So these are the pages. Hold on. So these are the pages to EGORAVEN issue 6. Like I said, these are currently pages 17 to 24 that are on the table. And I have them separated into 2 piles of 4. So, well, hey, I don't know about that. But, so I have, because it's like, I'm trying not to overwhelm myself with the amount of work that I have to do. So I try to, so what I do is I kind of like break them up, and that's like, okay, so I'm going to work on these four, then I'm going to work on these four. And then the idea is, by doing these little bits and pieces, by the time I get to the weekend, I will have all 8 pages pretty much done for the flatters. So okay, so these are the first 4 pages that this is my last 4 pages. So I'm going to take these off the table since we're not going to be working on them today. So I'm just going to put that there. So this is the pile that I'm trying to get through. So the way I'm inking this, again, trying to not overwhelm myself. So okay, so I have the initial 8 pages set aside. It's like, okay, I'm going to be working on these 8 pages. And so instead of like worrying about an entire issue, I'm just focusing on those 8 pages. And then from those 8 pages, I break it down. It's like, okay, let's do these 4 pages first. And once I'm down with that, so what I'm doing is I'm just putting down, instead of like completely inking each of these pages individually, what I'm doing is, like, right now, I'm just taking my rapidograph and putting down the really, really basic line, kind of like the first layer, if you will. And I'm just going to do that to all the the 4 pages, and then I'm going to go back and take my other pens and start laying down the other layers of ink, on building them up as a set of 4, so that by the time I get to the last layer, then it's like I'm done. And what that does is that it kind of, I think it's not technically an illusion, but the thing is, though, it gives me the illusion that I'm accomplishing more at one time than if I was just, going through one page. So at least this way, at the end of this process, I have 4 pages done instead of finishing my process and having 1 page done. It's a little mental trick that I do on myself. It kind of like it kind of keeps me. I find it more motivating to see more pages in progress than to see 1 page finished. If that makes any sense. I mean, it's like these are the. I mean, people keep asking me. It's like how do I stay so disciplined and whatnot? And it's like it's not really that I'm disciplined as much as I just use these little tricks to keep my momentum going. It's very easy for me to just, I don't know, kind of like get lost in other things, I mean, and the thing is, though, it's not like, I watch TV or all that, but it's very easy to kind of like, oh, I got to do all these updates on social media or something, or I got to do this and I got to do that. But it's like, so at least this way I have, it's more like kind of tricking myself to keep my momentum on my, or yeah. And I go to bed early. Yeah, that's, yeah. And goes to bed early. Yeah, like pretty much, which is why we changed the time on the House of Bob show. So that's kind of the trick that I use. So I kind of like partially ink in multiple pages just to feel like I'm accomplishing more. So, and that's exactly what we're going to be doing. So as you can see, this is pretty much what they look like on the first layer. So it's very plain. It looked like a coloring book almost. Also, it's kind of interesting to compare it to the older issues of EGORAVEN when I was using my more standard style at the time, which relied heavily on not being in color. Um, in that I'm kind of simplifying my details now and being clearer with my details so that it's easier for me to ink. And instead of starting off with a very fine pen, I use a thicker pen because it's easier to color. It's easier to put in the color uh, when I'm uh, when I'm coloring it. Oh, actually, let me just fix that. I just realized this is kind of missing. There we go. Um, so yeah, so when I go to color, the lines are really easy to for me to see and color in. So yeah, and that's like, but as I go along, it begins to all come together. Like I said, right now it looks very plain and very well. Hey, that's yeah, it's like no 2 o'clock in the morning private streams, with me around. It's like, no, I'm actually sleeping. Um, so that's where we're at. So here we are on page 18. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the rest of these pages out of here. And what I did on the other pages, like I went in and rule use the ruler on where I needed to use the ruler. Because there are certain things that I just can't freehand. Um, so another thing that I've been really kind of practicing. Well, I mean, and I say kind of because it's more on the pages. It's just actually doing it more and more on the pages. Is I'm actually trying not to use a ruler where I can help it. I know that sounds a little weird. That sounds and sometimes the results are a little wonky looking. But the thing is that let me move this up. 'Cause, is the one thing that always bothered me for like the longest time, when especially when I was doing tall tales, is how, I don't know, my backgrounds looked overruled, if that makes any sense. Like um I don't know, it's like it looked a little too much like, oh, like the characters are very organic, and then all of a sudden you look at my backgrounds and it's like, yeah, there's a like too many straight lines. So what I started doing when I started working on EGORAVEN was just like, okay, you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to try for a more organic style, um, where I'm just going to freehand as much as possible, even especially backgrounds. And as you can see here, that's what I'm doing with the speed lines. I mean, um, and yeah, and the thing is, though, it requires me to tighten up my pencils a bit so that I know better what I'm tracing with my pen lines. But I can't say I'm too disappointed with the results. I mean, it's going to take me a bit to get to a point where I guess my hand, it just doesn't look as, I guess, shaky. I guess, I don't know. It's like, I was watching some other artists ink online, and yeah, and there's this one particular guy, I forgot his name off the top of my head, but he draws lock and key, and he's an architect, and I think that he just has so much muscle memory that whenever he posts video of himself inking, he's not using a ruler, and I'm watching him ink straight lines. And that's what I'm kind of, and that's what I'm trying to get to. I mean, like I said, I still have to get the lines, my pencil lines accurate so that I know what I'm tracing. Because I've definitely noticed the difference that, this is not like I'm freehanding, but I shouldn't be completely freehanding it. Like I still need the lines underneath, and I still need them to be somewhat accurate, I guess. So yeah, but like I said, there's certain things that they definitely do not look right freehand, and that's like really, really straight stuff, like swords, like EGORAVEN's horn, like very particular things like that. So I just went in ahead and ruled out everything that I needed to rule out on the page, so that like now I could just go in and just ink without having to worry about grabbing a ruler, So like I said, I mean, it's like I'm not completely I mean, it's like I'm not completely satisfied, but at the same time, it's like I'm liking the direction where the inking is going, the freehand inking is going. It's like, it's like there's some places that look a little wonky, but I'm pretty much okay with it, because like especially once it's colored, it kind of like everything's get brought together, and like I said, it has enough of an organic feel to it that I'm not completely bothered by it. The whole idea is that as I continue on these pages, that I just try to hone myself more, so that, like I said, I want to get to the point where it's like I don't have to worry about it, where it's like it's giving me the because in the end it's like it's all about it's all about just doing it over and over and over again. I mean, there's always these people online who are always asking, oh, how do I get better at something? It's like, how do I get better at making comics? How do I get faster at making comics? And honestly, the real answer to that is you got to make comics. You just got to keep doing it until you get to that point. I mean, there is no shortcut other than just doing it. I know that I am confident that I am significantly faster than now than even 2 years ago. But the funny thing is that I just don't know how much of that is an actual skill, actual improvement of my skill, or I've just gotten to kind of like, screw it phase, where it's like, okay, I got to get this done. It's not going to do itself. It's like, I got to get over, whatever. Kind of like I ran out of patience with imposter syndrome. And it's like, fuck it, it's like, I have to get this done. and that's pretty much, I stopped worrying about whether I felt my stuff was good enough, kind of. I know that sounds a little weird. It's like, but there does come a point where it's like, look, you just got to do the work, and it'll improve naturally, and keep it moving, you know. Um, so yeah, but I mean, but I think that, I think the real answer is that if you want to improve your comic book work, you just have to keep working on your comics. I mean, you can study, you can read theory all you want, but nothing is going to beat actually doing the work. So yeah, it's like oh, and here's the thing too, that I guess it's like this has been popping up for a bit, but so it's like, so it seems like, I guess, that there's like there a lot of people, well, I don't know, a lot. I mean, it's like, I know that there's a comic that someone had done using the Mid Journey AI thing, the graphics thing, and I've been seeing people playing around with it and whatnot. And so, of course, it's like there's somebody who is going to be, um, yeah, pretty, yeah, yeah. I mean, that's pretty much it. It's like, there just comes a point where it's like, you know what? If I suck, I suck. It's like, and if I get better, I get better. It's like, that's going to happen. And like there just comes a point where I don't have time to really worry about that anymore. I know for a fact that I have improved over the last 2 years. Um, I know for a fact that I've been getting better, especially, you know. So it's like, in the end, it's like, you know what? It's like, why worry about it? I don't know. I guess it's like I just get to an age where it's like, you know what? Screw it. I got shit to do. You know, um, it's like, you know. Oh, and the thing is, though, is that kind of leads into the whole AI thing. So someone's did a comic using Midjourney, and it's like, okay. I mean, it's like, I mean, honestly, from what I've been seeing, yeah, sure, it's interesting. It's interesting as to what this thing can do. Especially if, I guess, it's into like really surrealist type of artwork, I guess. you know um but the thing is, though, it's like the way I see it is, it's a very interesting tool with a lot of potential. I mean, I haven't played around with it, and honestly, it's like I just don't have the time to, and it's just another sign up I have to worry about and shit. And I'm not really that interested in it. To It's like, it's like, yeah, I'm not interested in the learning curve of learning how to use it. It's like, in the end, it's like this is how I end up behind, you know. In terms of technology and whatnot, because it's like I go, oh, I don't want to learn another thing. But it's like, I don't know. It's like I really don't care enough to make it an issue. I guess it's like it has, yes, there's certain curiosity factor to it right now, but it's like, you know what, I'm too busy to be fucking around with that. um honestly. So, I am not really worried about it. But like the other thing that, um, not that it worries me, but the thing is that, like, I guess I shouldn't be surprised, is that every time a technology like this comes out, there's always people who are very gleeful, maliciously gleeful, I would say, in the idea of, oh, we don't need artists anymore. And it's like, you know, you deserve to have your shit made by AI if that's how you feel, you know? I mean, it's like, there's, like I said, it's like there's too much, there's people with too much malicious glee in the idea of artists not being able to get work because of this. Because it's like, because what I see really happening is that a lot of mid-level and honestly, even a lot of large companies, publishing companies, they're going to be using Mid-Journey to create book covers. Like, you are going to see an explosion soon of Mid-Journey book covers. Just like there was an explosion of clip art, pretty much clip art / stock photography book covers. Nobody wanted to pay illustrators anymore. They'd rather hire their cousins, their vice president's cousin that needed a job. So they brought him in as an intern, and now he can go through the stock library and put together, I don't know, some cover in Photoshop and and whatnot. And you know what? And it's like, and they don't want to pay the intern either. They don't want to pay the intern either. So I really do see that these are the people who are really going to use Midjourney. Is all these publishing companies. They don't want to hire photographers anymore. They don't want to hire illustrators. They just go into Midjourney. And I'm pretty sure a lot of these larger companies will probably have a version of Midjourney that's completely like catered to their needs and whatnot, that they're going to put in their own library of graphics for the AI to generate material for them. Let's see. The malicious is coming from people without talent who can't. Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. That's usually where I see this. I see it coming from. Is the people who they don't see what we do as art, but as content, and all they want is never-ending content, and it's yeah, and it's like right, and you say, yeah, exactly, and it'll get to the point where, like I said, they don't want to pay the intern either. So even if they're cheap, it's like, well, we don't have to pay you at all. We just have this AI that we're going to just pop out covers for us, and that's it. Where was I? Well, yeah, so that's where I really see like, yeah, I think, yeah, it's like that people just look at what we do as content and not as of anything of actual substance. Like, these are the people who, like, they just want to eat, but they don't want to taste anything. I mean, it's kind of like that. Like, they just want the slop going down their throats and they want more of it. So it's like, it's like, okay, it's like, it's like they want our talent without us. This was something that I had brought up during the whole Comics Blast video, which I still have on my channel if you want it, because it's like Comic Blast was kind of similar, where it's like, you had these people talking about how this program was going to replace artists, and couldn't have been further from the truth. But the thing is, the sentiment was real. The idea about how they want our talent without us. And Mid-Journey is kind of like their way of getting that. You know, but the thing is, though, am I worried about, you know, it's like, oh, I'm never going to get work. No, that's not how that, honestly, that's not how that works. You know, it's like, no, it's like, am I worried about art becoming, no, art does not become obsolete. It's like, in fact, what I really do see happening is that the more these companies use Midjourney, and the more, you know, and it's like, and the more this certain sameness starts happening to media, which, I mean, we're already seeing it. You know, I mean, it's like, they're already talking about how more smaller avant-garde movies aren't getting made. I mean, it's like, look, we're seeing the slaughter that's happening at Warner Brothers, right? People are literally seeing years of work just gone. You know, it's like all the animators who were working on greenlit projects that all of a sudden don't exist anymore. Literally, like, they're being scrubbed from the servers. They're being scrubbed from social media, like the projects never existed. And I think that once everything starts to have this very colorful, pastel, soft sameness that Midjourney does, it's like, look, I have seen multiple people do the whole, oh, this is my comic that I did on Midjourney. And to tell you the truth, there is absolutely nothing on any, these are several different people. And there is absolutely nothing about these books that stand out, except for the fact that, oh, Midjourney has this aesthetic that everybody is now catering to in order to take advantage of Midjourney. Which is kind of, you know, really funny, because it's like, these people are thinking they're being creative when all they're doing is limiting their creativity to the actual limits of the tool that they're using. You know, it's the same thing with everybody, like all these people who get into comics because they think it's an easy way to sell their stuff to networks. And they literally limit the imagination of what they can do in comics so that it'll be easier to translate to screen. You know, that it's like, oh, you know, we have to make this as affordable as possible, you know, for Netflix, when they're working in a medium where you can do anything. You can tell the story with as much craziness as you want, but they're not concerned about that. They're concerned about, you know, making an a beyond accessible story, but like accessible to whoever's holding the budget at Netflix. Right, yeah, it's like how Disney, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, also there's a thing with that too. You see, the reason why Disney embraced CGI as hard as it did was because CGI animators are not unionized. There is no union for CGI animators. While for traditional animation there is. So CGI allowed Disney to finally have an animation department that's completely not unionized, which honestly is the most Disney thing Disney as a corporation has done, to tell you the truth. All these people who said that Disney would not have, you know, it's like, oh, Disney wouldn't do, that's not what Walt would have wanted. Walt sure as fuck would have done this. You know, that's the really ironic thing. The thing that Disney as a corporation is doing, that's kind of like destroying their reputation as a company, is something that Walt himself would have blessed. If you know the history of Walt and the blacklist machine. That's the reason why Disney hated unions. um, he blacklisted his animators the first chance he got because of them, his own animators. And it's the reason why Walt Disney World is in Florida, because he wanted to build a theme park with no union labor. And Florida was the best place for him to do it. So yeah, it's pretty ironic. It's like, no, yeah, Walt would have fucking done that. He would have. It's his history. It's his MO. Um, you know, so yeah, so there's this certain sameness that I'm seeing with all this AI stuff. And I think what's gonna happen is that once it becomes really ubiquitous, where it's like how everybody just sees it over and over and over again. It's like actual artists with individual styles are going to stand out more. That's the irony of it. Um, because in the end, it's like I would like to think that you have studios right now really, really trying to train the audience to not trust anything that doesn't come out of a studio. That's kind of what's happening now. If media, if media isn't coming from, if your media isn't coming from Disney or Warner or whatever, I mean, Disney has really been pushing this narrative, then there's something very suspicious about it. There's something like, not progressive, even though corporations are the last people to be progressive about anything. Um, I mean, it's like, the fact that, Webtoons did that ad campaign where it's like, oh, the story before the streaming, like, the implication that it doesn't count until a corporation pays attention to it. Like, it's not like it's not worth anything on its own. A corporation has to put its blessing on it. That's it's bad enough that's happening. But I mean, Mid Journey is not going to do anything. I mean, Mid Journey is not going to do my comics for me. I mean, it's going to be a while before that AI. I mean, do I see a point where I actually don't need to do this? No, I don't actually. I really don't. It's like, I really do think that I'll be working on issue 15 the same way I'm working on issue 6, the same way that I worked on issue 1, the same way that I worked on Tall Tales issue 1 back in 1992. You know, yeah, I mean, that could definitely be its own conversation, but it's true. Corporations are not your friends. They are not progressive. They are not doing anything for you. All they're doing is giving you superficial lip service at that, making you think it's activism, just so they can get your money. That's it. That's it. It's like it kind of grosses me out that way too many people fall for it. I mean, you would think Disney invented gay people the way they talk about it. But it's like, no. It's like the fact, no. You know, yeah, corporations are not your friends. Um, and honestly, that's also another reason why I'm still kind of suspicious of Midjourney right now too, because it is owned by somebody. And the idea of people just dumping artwork into it to train the AI, like there was like something that someone had shown where there's literally a category on Midjourney where you can ask it to imitate certain people's styles. And they had like a whole list of artists. And the thing is though, Midjourney is not like, you are not going to confuse what Midjourney does in those art styles with the actual artist. You're not going that's not what's happening. But just the fact that living artists are having their art fed into the AI with the intention of trying to teach the AI to imitate their style. I do have a problem with that, because the question was, did the company get permission from these artists to train the AI on their artwork? Especially, I mean, we're not talking about, Phil Jimenez learning how to draw George Perez line by line. And then it's like now he has his own style. We're not even talking about that. We're talking about, this is going to be a system that a lot of companies are going to be using in lieu of hiring these artists. So, okay, it's like, so instead, well, of course, George Perez is a bad example now, but, like instead of hiring Milo Manera, to do artwork for you, you get the AI to do it. But because it's in his style, it's not like Milo Manera gets a cut, right? Well, yeah, I mean, but that's any tool, right? I mean, Midjourney will only be as good as creative or insane or as evil as the guys who wrote the code. Oh yeah, that's the whole thing with Clip Studio Paint now, right? That was the latest. Let's see, corporations are always, but yeah, exactly. I mean, it's like, rules. What rules you can get away with depends on how much money you have. But that's always a given. To us, it's a law. To them, it's a fine, right? It's just the price of doing business. So yeah, so that was also the other thing that kind of blew up on Twitter. So for those of you who haven't heard, Clip Studio Paint, the go-to Adobe competitor, I guess, have decided that they were going to start transitioning everything to a subscription model. Now, here's the thing, though. You can still buy a flat rate version of Clip Studio Paint. You can spend the $200, but you wait until there's the sale, right? Where you can get the full program, and that's it. You own Clip Studio Paint, as opposed to Adobe, which you have to pay a complete subscription for. Well, Clip Studio Paint has recently changed their model so that, okay, you can still buy the full version for a flat price. But if you want the latest updates, you have to be on a subscription. So is it technically a subscription model? Well, depends on what you use Clip Studio Paint for. I mean, before I went on the Adobe subscription, which by the way, I got it at a discount because someone had posted a code online, a code generator for it. But I do pay for the subscription. I do pay for it. It's not like I get Adobe for free. They get their money a month regardless. But up until that point, I was using a full version of Photoshop 6 and Illustrator and InDesign without a problem. And those are old programs. They don't even support them anymore. But the thing is that there just came a point where, it's actually kind of nice to get the full version and get all the updates and the latest bells and whistles. That the new Photoshop does things that I really couldn't imagine working without, because it just really works with my workflow. It just makes it so much easier. So it's like, yeah, okay, I'll pay the monthly fee. I have no problem. It's like, what? I get too much of a benefit. And so it's like, technically Clip Studio Paint's the same way. It's like, well, you could just use that version, but if you want all the updates, yeah, you got to pay a subscription. But you see, and here's the thing though, I'm not going to justify it, because all that tells me is that it's only a matter of time before Clip Studio Paint goes full subscription. That's the thing. I mean, it's like they're just beginning to wean people off the idea that they could just buy a flat model, the flat rate. They could just pay it outright and then not have to worry about it. It's like, no, if you want the updates, you get a subscription. You have to get a subscription. And I'm pretty sure within like a year or two, they're just going to go full subscription. Clip Studio Paint is full subscription. And there was a lot of people who are upset about that, because it's like, it's tough enough. It's tough enough being an artist, working as an artist professionally, and have to be nickel and dimed for the tools that we need. It's like honestly, I thought about it for a little bit, because it's like, it's like, what if for some reason I had to go back to doing work traditionally? Well, I mean, honestly, the only thing that I would have to do traditionally is, the major thing would be coloring. And to tell you the truth, without the computer, I can honestly say that would be a hardship for me. If I had to paint these pages as opposed to just coloring them in on digitally coloring them, it's like, yeah, that would be a hardship for me. And I certainly wouldn't be able to get as much work done as I wanted. I mean, the only reason we did Tall Tales in black and white, and I did it the way I did it, was because we couldn't afford color. We couldn't afford to print it in color, even if we wanted to. Now, thanks to digital, we can do that. But there's also the cost of the materials that you need in order to accomplish that. So it's like, if coloring digitally, makes it's extremely efficient for me. So in the end, it's like, yeah, I have to pay for a subscription service to make sure I have access to the right tools that allows me to do my comic the way I need to right now. I mean, honestly, I would be disappointed if I had to go back to doing the comic in black and white. I could do it, but it looks so much nicer digitally colored, you know? So it's like, okay, so the subscription is the price I have to pay, you know? And, you know, and I on one hand, I feel for the artists who are saying it's getting more and more expensive to be an artist. But I kind of want, but I don't know. It's like I can't help but like going, damn, you know, it's like that sounds so much like hyperbole too. I mean, really, if you don't have Clip Studio Paint, you can't be an artist. You know, I mean, it's just like the conversation's a little bit weird, you know? Like, yeah, I get it. Everything's a subscription now. You don't own anything. Everything's a license. I mean, it's like I was reading that there's even like there's literal like cars that technically you don't own. You could buy a car outright, but you still have to license the software you need to run the car. I mean, it's like I remember reading about like farmers were finding out about this. Like they would spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on new farming equipment, only to find out they technically don't own it because they have to license the software that runs the equipment. And there was this whole, I guess, trend in finding old like analog tractors. I mean, and finding the pieces and learning to repair them, because you know the I guess the licensing fees is like you're paying all this money for all this equipment, and then you had this additional money you had to pay on top of it. You know, aside from the fact that because of this software, you couldn't fix anything on your own. I think printers are like that too, where it's like that's how they force you to use their own inks instead of buying off-brand inks. You know, because it's like, oh, it's like, well, no, it's like you're licensing the printer from us, so you have to, or else we'll brick your shit. Like there was an article recently about a guy who he had his printer bricked remotely because he was using off-brand inks. And it's like, what the fuck? You know, it's like, I paid for this printer. It's like, no, you didn't. You paid for the printer, but you didn't pay for the right to use it. You know, and it's just, I don't know. It's just a very, it's just very strange. But you know, like I said though, it's like the whole like hysteria, like almost. But then again, it is Twitter, and they, you know, and it's like, and it's a platform that rewards hysteria and completely unhinged behavior and thought processes. You know, they're literally talking as if, oh, if I can't, you know, it's like, you know, if I can't afford Adobe or Clip Studio Paint, I can't do art anymore. It's like, really? You know, it's like I'm right here in front of you guys right now doing artwork. And, you know, I don't know. I don't know. It's like, yeah, I don't like the idea of not owning something. You know, well, I mean, I'm talking about, well, you see, this is the thing though. It's you see, I'm not sure if I'm reading that correctly, because it's like, I mean, it's like, yeah, it's like we should be paid properly for what we do. But I mean, again, you know, dovetailing with the Mid Journey AI. I mean, it's like I said, it's not individual publishers. It's not people like me who are going to be using Midjourney. It's going to be all these, it's going to be Scholastic. It's going to be, Penguin Putnam or whatever the fuck they're called. It's going to be all these publishing houses that, that are going to be using Midjourney to completely erase, completely get rid of using artists in general. I mean, they're the ones. So it's like, yeah, so it's getting, and then now it's like you have Warner Brothers completely destroying their animation departments. I mean, it's like, yeah, it's like you have all these artists now with nowhere to go. I mean, honestly, I think, people should be rewarded for their hard work. You know, um, and I don't think that in and of itself is and I don't think that in and of itself is unhinged. I'm just talking about the histrionics on Twitter where okay. Oh, all right. Oh, right. Oh, I get it now. I get it now. That's right. That's right. That the histrionics and the unhinged behavior is the hard work. Yes. Okay. Now I get it. Now I get it. Oh, there we go. Okay. I'm sorry if I misinterpreted. I ruined your joke. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Patrick. That's what I did. I ruined your joke. But the thing is, though, I think it's still very, I think it's still very, yeah, it is. I mean, I still think it's ridiculous for these people to say that they can't do art. It's like, oh, I can't do art professionally if I don't have Photoshop. I can't do art professionally if I don't have a 21-inch $2,000 Cintiq. You know, it's like, look, I don't know. I don't know what to say to that. I mean, it's like, look, um, every place has skill requirements and tool requirements. I mean, and, if this is something you want to do, you have to, I don't know, you have to work within the system, right? We live in a society, right? So it's like, yeah. So, okay. The moral of the story is that Clip Studio Paint is now on a subscription model, and it's only a matter of time before they go completely on subscription model. And, I really don't know what to tell you. I mean, honestly, I was thinking about trying out Clip Studio Paint on their subscription because, so I missed the sale, right? They usually do one on the 4th of July, right? Like, I guess like for $150 you could pick up Clip Studio Paint EX. And but I didn't want to spend that money. So I was like going, okay, so what can I look up? It's like, what are my options? And they had a subscription model. So I looked under that subscription model. And here's the thing. So for $70 a year, I can get Clip Studio Paint EX for $70 a year. So it would take me 2.5 years, kind of, whatever, before it equaled the cost of buying it full price, right? So Photoshop is $50 a month. That's not what I pay, but it's $50 a month full price. if you're not using a discount code. So I still think, just by looking at that, as long as they don't change that I don't know, $70 a year to use a program seems to be a much better value if that's what you're looking for. So Clip Studio Paint is still a value compared to Adobe Photoshop. So, so in the in the end, like I said, if your job depends on this, you have to figure out a way how to work within this system. Does it suck? Yes, it sucks. I mean, it's like, look, do I regret not spending $2,000 for a 21, 22-inch Cintiq? Yeah, I do, honestly. Because I don't have a 21-inch Cintiq, not because I can't afford it, but because I was fucking cheap when I went to replace the Cintiq that broke on me. So, I mean, but in the end, it's like, if I literally needed that thing to work, I would have figured out a way to have gotten that Cintiq anyway. It's like that would have been something that had to happen if I really truly did need it to function, which technically I don't. I mean, I think I'm just more annoyed by the histrionics that I saw online. But that's just the nature of being online, right? It's all histrionics. So it's like all this time, and I forgot that I had a music playlist that that I had set up so that when I hit these quiet spots, yeah, that's what I see. That's another thing. It's like HEIR, right? It's like that's I've seen a lot of, it's like I've been recommended that. It's I have, I know people who use that as opposed to a Cintiq, as opposed to a Wacom. They're very happy with it. I also hear they're a little buggy in the beginning, but once you get over the hump, they're good to use. So yeah, the options are there. I mean, me personally, when it comes to certain things, I'm kind of a brand whore. There's certain things that I will not buy refurbished, and I will not buy off-brand. And for me personally, technology is that. So I personally would not buy a HEIR. But I mean, I've heard that they're good. And if you absolutely needed something to work on, that would be an option. But yeah, here we go. Okay, yeah, people just expect everything to make them money and don't want to invest. Fuck, just to run this YouTube costs me about $1,400 a year, not including equipment. If you want anything of quality, it costs. You see, that's probably the reason why I was kind of put off by the. Oh, does he now? Okay, so there you go. I mean, yeah, it's like, yeah. You see, your mileage may vary. You see, because I've had some questionable experiences with off-brand technology before, so I'm a little skittish with it. Um, Really? Okay. All right. It's like, I've looked into it too. I mean, like I said, it's like I've really looked in. I have looked into it. But going back to Nita's point, it's like, yeah, that's probably the thing that really irked me about the conversations that I was seeing on Twitter is it's like that there was kind of like the fake concern trolling for, oh, because like not everybody can afford a Cintiq or whatnot. And it's like, okay, I get that. But, expecting Wacom to price their products, according to the people who can't afford it is kind of weird. Like, I mean, it's kind of a weird request. You know what I mean? Oh, hey, hey, Joe, how you doing? So, Joe, do you use a Cintiq or do you use a Huion? Which do you use when you do your work? Because I know you work on a tablet, right? So which model do you use? So it's like, yeah, so that was the thing that I think that's the thing that I find the weirdest about that conversation is like, okay, so if okay, you know what, let's look here, now that y'all got me curious. Okay, so let's go to Clip Studio Paint, right? Okay, so all right, so like I said, you can all right, so now the thing is though, we want, okay, so let's go to buy now. Let's see what it is. Okay, so Clip Studio Paint Pro is $50. All right, then Clip Studio Paint EX, which is probably the one that if you're going to invest in anything, that's the one you go for because it has the whole animation thing and everything. It is $219 right now on the website, right? But you can get a subscription. So okay, so if you get a single device plan, and we go to EX, okay, so on a single on a single computer, you want to use Clip Studio Pro EX. So yeah, you can either pay $8.99 a month or annually for $72. Okay? If you wanted the premium plan up to 4 devices, okay, it's $14.99 a month. And annually is $18. It's $117.99. Okay, I'm sure there's, okay, so Joe uses Huion too. Okay, so there we go. So we have, I'm the only one here using a Cintiq, I guess, in the chat. Everyone else is using Huion. They love it. That's, there's your option. Okay, there's your option. So, okay, so now people are talking about, you're mad because now you have to pay for the premium version of Clip Studio Paint. You have to pay $15 a month. $15 fucking dollars a month. Okay? Remember, Adobe, no, you don't, oh, you're not using Huion? What do you use, Joe? What are you using? It's like, so you have, okay, so like I said, Adobe charges $50 for their full plan, no discount, $50 a month. Clip Studio Paint, Clip Studio Paint is $14.99. They're arguing the difference between paying $15 a month and $14 a month to $50 a month. Okay, so this is where I it's like, so I think this is where I'm having a problem with the information, right? Is because all of a sudden all these artists on Twitter are claiming poverty, right? That's like, oh, we're too. I mean, pretty much that's what they're saying. We're too, even though, you have those artists that the professional are saying, oh, even though I can afford the Cintiq and I can afford the Adobe plan and whatnot, it's like it's unfair to other artists who might not be able to afford it. It's like, okay, here's the thing though. Maybe this is not going to be kind, but it's like, if you have a job that requires you to have some kind of digital program and you can't pay $15 a month for that program to be able to do your job because they're now moving to a subscription service, I think you have bigger problems. I mean, am I wrong? Is it just me? I mean, because in the end, that's kind of how I'm interpreting this. It is that, yeah, it's like you have these people who are complaining that they have to invest in what they need in order to do their job properly, and they resent it. But the thing is, though, is that what they're complaining about, my subscription to Epidemic Sound is about the cost of getting, Clip Studio Paint. Right. Okay. So Huion. Okay. So, but yeah. If you had a choice, you would have gone with the Wacom. But at this moment, you're using Huion, and I'm pretty sure that it's doing everything that you need for it, right? Yes. You know what? I think that's exactly what's happening, Joe. People are being cheap on the wrong. They're being cheap on the wrong things for the sake of being outraged. Right. You have to think about, yes, exactly. It is a cost of doing business. Let's see. Oh, there we go. Yeah, $1,400 is what I paid for my 16-inch Cintiq. Yeah, that's what I paid for my 16-inch Cintiq. I mean, and like I said, I and it was because I was too cheap to shell out the extra $400, which would have gotten me the 22-inch. I mean, really, it was a $400 difference. I mean, really, I was just being insanely cheap. So yeah, so that, but that's exactly it. It's like, so that was kind of like the vibe that I got that kind of put me off from the conversation. That it just felt like that people resented the fact that now they had to invest in the subscription model for something that they claim that they need for their work. I mean, it's like, look, I the other day I was just transferring over all my subscriptions over to one particular card so I can kind of like keep a track of it better. And yeah, it's a lot of subscriptions. Are subscriptions annoying? Yes, they're very annoying. It's like, yes, do I like the model? No, I do not like the model of having to like be nickeled and dimed to death for everything that I need to use to function. But that's what it is, and it's like, okay, am I being privileged and shit? Most likely, Yeah, okay, all right. It's like anybody. It was like, oh, you're just privileged. It's like, okay, fine, fuck it, whatever makes you feel better. Right, exactly. Thank you. Why not moan? Right, exactly. These are this. It's like, mind you, it's like, honestly, these were all the same kids who were like having no problems trying to scrimp to get Copics, and now they're complaining about. I mean, yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah, that's pretty much. I think that's what annoyed me about the conversation. That I think it was just like a lot of like bad faith concern trolling on behalf of people who it's like, yeah, it's like, you know what, I don't know what they want. It's like, what, you want this shit to be for free? I mean, it's like, look, it's like, you have the model, you have the base version, you can continue using the base version. It's just that you have to pay for updates now. I mean, it's like, so technically you can continue using the base version if, as long as, but what it is that they all want the up to date model. And it's like, look, pick a struggle, That's, so hold on, let me switch back here, because we're obviously at the almost at the top of the second hour. So um okay, let me switch over here. You know, so there we go. Okay, hold on. Ooh, okay, there we go. So this is what I got so far. I'm going to be continuing, of course, as always. After the stream is over, I'm going to be continuing on these pages, trying to get to at least finish the 4 pages for tonight. You know, so that I can just continue this process. So okay, so there we are. Yeah, I mean, really, it's like, at what point, you see, that's the thing. At what point, you know what it is? It's like, it's kind of like the whole thing. It's like, I've read in publishing circles, never cater to the lowest common denominator in your audience, type of thing. Like I said, it's like, maybe I'm just being mean now. I don't know. It's like, um, you know, um, and I think that in the end, it's like, this is kind of the same thing. It's like all these people are whining that these companies are not catering to the lowest common denominator in their audience. Like, why aren't you? It's like, you see, but here's the thing, though. That's what Disney does. That's what Marvel does. That's what Warner Bros. That's what movie studios are doing nowadays. They're catering to the lowest common denominator in their audience. Technology companies don't. I mean, that I don't know. I don't know. It's like, look, if you want to do something a certain way, you have to invest in it. Um, Whether you like it or not. I mean, it's like, yeah, could you do artwork with a ballpoint pen? Yeah, but you know what? If you really want to do art a certain way, you have to invest in the right tools to do it. You can't be, using the school grade shit. It's like, you have to like move up. It's like, you kind of, have to put on, your big girl panties, and, and kind of, and move up, and you have to raise your standards in order to do things correctly. And sometimes raising your standards means you have to invest in certain things. Um, and yeah, and it's just like, yeah, and I can't, and it's like, yeah, and it's like, and I feel for people who feel the pinch, but at the same time, it's like, it's like, really, if you can't afford $15 a month for a program you claim is essential to what you do, you have bigger problems. Okay, we're not talking about you spending $2,000 on a Cintiq. It's like, look, we have a friend who, he was doing medical illustrations on a friggin' tablet this big. Okay. So it's like, yeah, it's there we go. It's like, give me a tuba and I'll squeeze something out of it. I mean, really, your creativity is more important than your tools. All the fancy, expensive tools in the world will not make your work good if you do not have the talent and the experience. Well, that's definitely a part of it. But that's also why we have that issue with Midjourney right now, right? Owning or renting your tools make no difference ultimately. I honestly, I don't think it does really. It's like, these are the people who panic when power goes out and they can't use their computer. Oh my God, how am I going to draw? How about with a sketch pad and a pencil? How about that? Okay. Yeah, I know. It's my, it's my motivational demotivation, right? My demotivational motivation. Yeah, exactly. Invest and build. That's all you can do. Nothing I have here, I bought all at once. As much as I would love to, right? As much as any of us would love to, it's like, no, I had to build my Copic collection, $100 at a time, pretty much, because that's how much their basic set costs. Same thing. Everything I have in this office is built a piece at a time. It's like, oh my goodness. It's like, yeah, I know. It's like, get off my lawn, get out of my art store. Oh my God, there we go. LeFou, I'm afraid I've been thinking, a dangerous pastime I know. I mean, it's like, we use multiple programs to keep the channel right. Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's, yeah, it's like, really, I think, yeah, you know what? It's like, look, if you want to do this seriously, you have to invest in what you're doing, and it's like, really, and if you're going to complain about $15 a month for a program that, and you know what, the fact that these are the same people who don't want to buy, it's like they wouldn't consider a Huion but claim that no, my life depends on a wake. No, it doesn't. It's I don't know, it's just, what do I know, right? What do I know? Oh my goodness. So look, yeah, what?
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here?
I mean, really, I don't know what to tell anybody anymore, to tell you the truth. So here we are at the top of the second hour. I just want to thank everybody for sticking around and listening to me babble on. Like I said, I completely forgot that I had music set up for it, but I ended up talking through the whole thing anyway. So there we go. So thank you again for joining me today. Thank you everybody in the comments, and thank you, Joe, for the earworm. I will now have the Gaston song in my head for the rest of the day. So yeah, thank you everybody from regions beyond who are watching right now, who stuck it through the 2 hours. Thank you again if you were joining me from Facebook or Twitter, for wherever you may have been seeing the link, and well, yeah, I mean, really, look, every time I get cheap, I regret it. Okay, that's the thing. That's why sometimes, look, just you're better off spending the money and getting the right product to begin with than trying to be cheap and replacing it because, like, oh, it's not quite right. It's not quite right. It's not quite right. But the thing is, though, look, with the Huion, it's like, if a lot of people says it works for them. So there you have it, you know? And yeah, at a fraction of the cost. So there you go. So it's all about shopping. People don't know how to shop. They get too enamored with brand names. Like, look, I'm guilty of that myself. Um, so yeah, so in the end, you know, so let's bring this officially to a close right here. There we go. So yeah, so if you want to see more of my artwork and whatnot and learn more about me or whatnot and to support my Kickstarter, you know, while you're at it, you can head on over to my main portfolio site at egoworks.com, EGOWORKS. You can find links to all of my galleries and social media sites, but I mostly post to Facebook. If you want to go there for all the latest updates and new artwork and whatnot. Just to warn you, I'm really shitty at friend requests. So if you just want to follow my feed, you can go ahead and just follow. I don't have anything that's private on the Facebook. Just follow because I really suck at keeping up with friend requests. So don't hold your breath on that. Just follow and we'll be fine. And of course, and if you're joining me on Facebook, head on over to YouTube where you can check out all my videos on how I make my art at Daphne Lage Art, which also simulcasts through the Indie Comics Network, where you can also find me with Nita Lanning on the Rage Into the Vlog show, which our next episode will be on Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern. What the topic will be, I don't know. I had a bunch of things I wanted to talk about. I think I might have spoke about everything here. So I don't know. We'll make up something on that Friday. Also at egoworks.com, you can read the first 5 issues of EGORAVEN, Heir of the First Unicorn, in its original black and white format, which I was able to do without a Cintiq. There you go. So I was able to do, although the lettering I did do, the original lettering I did do in Photoshop, but it was a bootleg version of Photoshop at the time. So, no snitching. But if you prefer your fantasy to be a more of a Lord of the Rings type of adventure, you can follow the links back down to Tall Tales, TAILS online.com, and read the first 20 issues of Tall Tales for free. So you too can see the glory of seeing what a comic looks like done by hand. Really, I don't know. I just find the whole thing ridiculous. Like, oh, I can't do artwork if I don't have, this $2,000 tablet and a $15 a month program. I mean, I don't know. I really don't. So, you know what? Look, there's go work on Midjourney. I don't know what to say to these people, honestly. So also don't forget to sign up for my monthly newsletter where you can download free PDFs of all my comics, of Tall Tales, of EGORAVEN, of the Oswald Chronicles for you to try out. And also you can get updates in your email that way as well. So yes, so just a reminder, EGORAVEN, Heir of the First Unicorn, Volume 1, on Kickstarter right now, a project we love. We've already unlocked the 2nd stretch goal. We're on our way to the 3rd stretch goal. Can we make this a record-breaking campaign? Holy crap, we have 29 days to go. A lot can happen in those 29 days. And I just want to thank, once again, everybody for making the campaign a success. Thank you so much for enjoying, my book and coming out every time there's a Kickstarter. I mean, I couldn't do if I couldn't do anything with anything, is I couldn't have done it without you guys, because in the end, it's like, I can do this all myself. I could do this for myself, but it's a lot more fun when we're all in it together and I'm able to share the work with everybody. And I'm really happy that you're enjoying everything as well. So on that note, I bid you adieu. I'll see you on Friday. And and let's just end on EGORAVEN again, because I'm running on that type of high. So thank you again, and I'll see you next time.
EGORAVEN returns to Kickstarter in its first trade paperback, collecting issues 1 through 4 in one full-color volume. EGORAVEN, Heir of the First Unicorn, is the story of a unicorn princess exiled into the mortal realm after she is betrayed by her elf prince husband-to-be. Dragons overtake her kingdom, and how she trains to become a knight with the help of an unusual trio of blacksmiths. It's a mature audience telling of the classic hero's journey with a soap opera twist, so check out EGORAVEN, Heir of the First Unicorn, Volume 1 today